Witches. We are back with another episode of the Amethyst Witches. And today we are talking about astral traveling, right?
Lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming.
That's right. Well, let's talk a little bit about astral travel, but we want to talk today about lucid dreaming and the difference between a normal dream that you have and when one is lucid. And the main difference is that when you dream, you're just getting sort of like the day's events and different feelings and thoughts you've had during the day, and it goes together as a story, maybe a crazy story sometimes.
Yeah.
But a story nonetheless. And you are just a participant in the story.
Yeah.
Right. Or even an observer, but you're not really aware that you're dreaming. Right. And these dreams can be really vivid. Some people dream very vividly. Yeah. Nightmares too. Right. But if we knew a nightmare was a dream, we wouldn't be so scared.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where lucid dreaming comes in.
Right. So in a lucid dream, you are aware that you're dreaming, and then you can control the events. You can almost make it happen as you think it, which is quite magical.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about in the tarot. I'll talk about this first. We've got the Sun card, and the Sun card represents consciousness. So everyday waking consciousness. Whoops, I just dropped the other card. Everyday waking consciousness, and it's called Resh or Resh, and that's the Hebrew letter that represents the sun, and it is the face, okay, the face of the head, let's say, okay. So, in opposition to that, we have the Moon card, okay, and this is represented by the Hebrew letter Quaff, which means the back of the head. Okay, so this is the subconscious. This is the conscious. Okay. And when we're in the subconscious state, you can see here that you have a dog and a wolf representing sort of instinct and the primal urges. Okay. And things in dreams are a little weird, right? They're a little different. Everything's a little different. And I think this is the thing. Can we hold on to what is different in a dream, so different that it couldn't possibly be real? If we can hold on to whatever that is, then we can begin the process of a lucid dream. Because we can say, hey, this is a great dream. Jimmy Page is, serenading me on his guitar. That couldn't possibly be real. This must be a dream. That's my dream the other night.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, Jimmy Page. It wasn't young Jimmy Page. It was old Jimmy Page with his white hair. Anyways, on the topic of Jimmy Page, we also want to be like the magician. And it's said that the magician never really sleeps. And the idea is that the magician card is Mercury. It represents Mercury or Hermes, but it's also stands for attention. Okay, paying attention, right? And if we can be able to awaken our attention while in the dream state and dream lucidly and create our own reality there, then we are the magician who never actually sleeps. It's a neat idea. And I've heard I think it was the BOTA, or maybe it was the Carlos.
Building your
light body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. It's another form of building your light body, for sure.
And does that go along with like building the life of where you want to go in your afterlife kind of thing? Like I've heard
developing your consciousness, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we believe that we carry on in the same form, right? That's up to debate.
Yes.
Do we carry on? Are you going to be Mary in the afterlife and me, Amy, in the afterlife? Or are we going to be something completely different? Yeah. Something completely different.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's the big question mark. We go, no.
No.
Anyways, we're going to talk about some ways that you can get lucid. And Mary, I know you're quite the dreamer. Mary has her moon in Pisces, so she's quite the dreamer. I have my sun in Pisces, so I'm also quite the dreamer. But let's hear about your experiences with lucid dreaming.
With lucid dreaming? So I think it's something that I've always done. It's not something that I've studied or read about or
It just
anything like
comes
that.
natural.
Just natural. As a
Mhm.
child, I would control my dreams like always, yeah,
That's
and
great.
still did. Even now, I can um, control a dream, but um, it's usually partway through a dream for
Right,
me.
right, exactly. So you're dreaming, you're having a
Yeah.
dream, and then all of a sudden something alerts you to the fact that
Mhm.
you're in a dream,
Mhm.
and then you can flip it to
Yeah.
lucid.
Like, oh, I might find something interesting in this part of the stream, so I want to find out more about that.
Yeah,
Therefore, I start to control where the dream is going.
right.
Like, how in dreams you go onto a different section and it's like, no, I want to stay in this section and I want to find out what
Okay.
that mystery is.
Right.
So I can control like where I'm going and who I'm talking to and that kind of thing.
That's so neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have you found there's a link between the lucid dream state and, say, a prophetic dream?
Um, Sometimes, yes.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have had very prophetic dreams
Mhm.
in a lucid state.
Okay.
Yeah. There was one I remember distinctly about dreaming about my life. And it wouldn't have happened until, I guess, at least 20 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I dreamt of like this brown van that I was going to have. And like could see the whole house, the van, everything. And it wasn't until 20 years later that I had that house and that van.
Wow.
And
That is
something
so cool.
significant happened during that time period. So maybe it was just the dream telling me, okay, you need to pay attention.
Right.
This is
A turning point.
a crucial point,
Mhm.
yeah, that you need to pay attention to.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was quite a few years later.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I once had a dream that when I was about in my late teens, I guess, or early 20s, I had a dream that I was driving in a car and I stopped and I saw two little girls. And it was me and my cousin as little girls.
Oh.
And I said, "Hey," and I called them over to the car and said, "Hey, do you know who we are? Where are you in the future?" And anyway, I told my cousin that and she said, "Oh, I don't like she just scared her, it spooked her." That was hilarious. Because maybe that happened to us. Like maybe something me telling her like really scared her.
Maybe it was a thought of, oh, I kind of remember that happening.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, she had a deja vu or something,
Yeah.
which, well, there's deja vus too, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of connected to
That's,
prophetic
I
dreaming.
think so too.
Yeah.
That you dreamt that it's happened and then it happens.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or it could be a past life thing.
I've had
Yeah, I don't know. That's another big question mark right
I've
there.
had very significant deja vu. I think there's a really old video on this channel of me talking about a deja vu that
Hmm.
happened
That was
years
one of
ago.
our first videos.
And I still think about that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that it's like you've already been in that situation and then you're back in it again.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very bizarre.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
It's a strange
Our
feeling.
minds are amazing, what they can do and what they can synthesize through the past, present, and future.
Mhm.
And when we were researching to do this video, I looked into the Aboriginals from Australia, and they have this belief. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them, but they do not think in terms of linear time. Time
Okay.
to them is a circle, right?
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so and they call it the dream time. Like that is everything, like everything, the world's like, and your dreaming time as well are all connected,
All at
right?
once.
Yeah. And they have spirit animals that are given to each clan or each family. And, if you see that spirit animal, then that's a real message. It's kind of like Native American spirit guides and spirit animals. It's
Mhm.
very similar. But just this whole idea, even they think that when you die, that you become the land. You become part of the dreaming,
Oh, wow.
if you will. It's just a beautiful worldview and philosophy. And they believe strongly in their dreams. And so yeah, that might be something that you want to check out if you want to know more about the Aboriginals of Australia and the whole idea about the dream time. They feel they believe that the world was created by these giant spirit beings. And then their first ancestors came on the land. And then when the ancestors' bodies died, they didn't actually die. They just became the rocks and the valleys and the streams and the trees. And isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it's so gorgeous. Yeah, what a great idea. Sometimes I think, Western thought on creation, life and death and everything it's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right. But I'm an animist, so
Yeah.
I do believe that everything has a spirit, a soul,
Absolutely.
and it's all part of the one big, huge consciousness that we're a part of.
Mhm.
And that would be Reish again.
And that we're connected to the subconscious of everyone, all.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
That's a good segue. And in one of my recurring lucid dreams is Mall World.
Mall World. Yes. Talk
And
about that.
if you don't know what Mall World is, there's hundreds and hundreds of videos out there. I might start talking about it more. We'll see.
Yeah. This could be just a start.
But I did not know that other people visit Mall World in their dreams
Yeah.
until just recently.
But you've been doing it for years.
I found this out on TikTok, of
Yeah.
all places,
Yeah.
that there's a lot of people that visit this same dream world that I go to on a regular basis and have been for
Wow.
20 plus years at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a constant thing that shows up. I'll go to the same areas in this mall world and theaters, all of that.
That's
The whole
amazing.
thing that people describe, and it's so bizarre that we're all connected.
It's almost like the pool of consciousness or the subconsciousness that Jung talks about,
Yeah.
and how we all can have access to that pool of consciousness,
And it makes sense that us Gen Xers
collective consciousness.
would end up at a mall.
Right, because we pretty much grew up in them.
Pretty much grew up in that time, the mall.
Malls, yeah,
Major, what
that's
is
where we
it?
hung out at the mall and the arcades and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was our
It
generation.
kind of makes sense that that's where we would go.
Yeah. I also have been lucid dreaming my whole life. But it's only been recently, maybe in the last 10, 15 years or whatever, that I've attempted to control, going into lucid dreaming.
Okay.
Because before that, it would be like, oh, I'm having a lucid dream.
Yeah.
And then I can control it. But now I'm trying to start right in, which is another whole thing.
That's something that I ordinarily can do.
I think it takes a lot of practice.
It's usually I become aware during the dream.
Yeah, that's me too. Usually that's how it goes for me. But as a child, it was all of a sudden I'd jump up and I'd start to fly, and then I'd know, hey, I can't fly, so this must be a dream. And then I'd be going over the lake and up above the trees. And these were super vivid dreams where I could see the tops of trees with the leaves. Like, it's almost like when you're lucid dreaming, it's hyper reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's more real.
And you remember those ones
more
than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had another one where I was underwater and I was swimming and breathing underwater and everything. So that, obviously I knew I can't do that. So I knew I was dreaming, and then I could keep on going. And, there was mermaids and all kinds of things happened. It was a wonderful dream. It was a wonderful dream. But yeah, so now I'm trying to, consciously get into lucidity. And one of the books that I didn't bring, but I had read many years ago, was the Carlos Castaneda series.
Oh, yeah.
And I read many of those books. Now, I can't remember where he starts talking about it, but certainly in his book, The Art of Dreaming, it features highly. But anyway, he's talking about how to get into lucid dream state. And he said, when you're in a dream, look at your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I
remember reading this. Yeah.
And you'll know that they won't look like your normal hands. Like if you can say, oh, I want to look at my hands. Like one time I looked at my hands and it was like I had big, stripy clown hands, like they were, or polka dots or something that were just completely bizarre. And then I knew, yes, I'm in a dream because my hands don't look like that.
Right.
And then from there, you can take it to another level. And like the Jimmy Page dream, if I could have only, thought to myself, hey, this can't be possible
Yeah.
because I don't know Jimmy Page personally. It would be this great, and it would be wonderful if that was true. But yeah, but I didn't make the connection. And so that's the whole thing. You need to make the connection.
Yes.
And that's one way. But now I'm actually trying to do it where when I go to sleep, so in order to get into a dream state or a sleep state, you have to pretend that you're dreaming or pretend that you're asleep in order to get asleep. Okay. So there's this little period of time between awake and asleep when if you can harness that, consciousness right then and there, then you can take it into the lucid. So now what I'm trying to do is as I'm getting into sleep, I'm trying to produce the lucid effect right off the bat. And it's tricky, but there's a period of time between when you are, just lying there awake and then you're just starting to drift into sleep and then you're sleeping. There's this tiny little sliver of time where you can harness, the visual images that start to appear and walk right into the dream fully aware. But then it's holding it. Can you hold it as you continue to dream? Right?
That's tough.
So now this is where I'm at. I'm somewhere between getting into lucidity and, having a regular dream that turns into lucidity. There's a middle chunk there, and you just have to work at it. Like people have different methods.
It's probably like muscle memory.
Yeah.
To try and do that.
Well, first is dream recall.
Yeah.
You got to be able to recall your dreams
Yeah.
and record your dreams, even if it's just, I flew in a helicopter with my dad in an air, that's your dream. That's all you can remember, right? It's enough. Write it down. And then one thing that Jeremy Crow says is when you're, before you go to sleep, tell yourself, tonight I will have a lucid dream. Like program it, set the intent.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So recording your dreams, dream recall, and then telling yourself, like setting an intent that you're going to have lucid dream. Sort of like a mantra as you fall asleep.
Brian was saying that trying to start a lucid dream, he recommends, like, if you're not used to doing it and you want to learn how to do it, he was saying, well, start by setting an alarm so that you have to wake up in the middle of like a heavy dream and then go back to sleep. If you can fall right back to sleep, then
Try to get
you
right back
might get into a lucid dream in that way. And I thought about it and I thought, well, that kind of makes sense because usually the dog or my husband will wake me up.
Right.
And then, like, let's say 3 in the morning or whatever. And maybe that's when I start lucid dreaming. I don't know. But I had already done it years ago. So,
well, I think I've read that or I heard on a YouTube video, I think, or something, it was like you set it for 6 hours after falling asleep because there's a certain time period. There's different levels of sleep, right?
Right.
There's the non-dreaming sleep, and then you get it down in even deeper and deeper until you get into rapid eye movement. And I think it's that rapid eye movement that if you were to wake up then and then go back to sleep, the chances of having a lucid dream are higher.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So little things you can try, because it's so neat to have a lucid dream and to be able to control things. And, this is kind of like witchcraft in general. Like we're trying to control our conscious reality as well. Right. And we want to be able to control both realities, our waking and
you're controlling your subconscious that way.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is what we want to do as witches.
Exactly. We want to be able to control that. Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of something I've seen recently online where witches are talking about how they don't believe in shadow work or
That's crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Or haven't done it yet. And this is somebody who's practicing. And I thought, well, if you are not trying to control your subconscious, then what are you doing in your spell work?
Right.
Like your subconscious does affect your spell work. So yeah, that is a crazy idea to me. But but doing lucid dreaming for sure, you're trying to work on controlling that
Of course.
because dreams, that is your subconscious.
And speaking of the subconscious, back to Quoth, the moon card,
Mhm.
um, we want to be able to control our inner instinctual reactive nature, right?
Mhm.
We need to be able to control that. And yeah, like the moon card does represent the shadow, right?
Mhm.
Just as the sun represents the light. The two faces. We all have two faces,
Yeah. And the
and
whole goal is to be able to control that
and to
one
be a whole.
that's hidden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a few books. Now it's been a long time since I read Carl Jung's Dreams, but this is an excellent book and a classic.
Speaking of shadow work.
Speaking of shadow work, king of shadow work.
That term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Jung was a fascinating character, and he was a psychoanalyst. And it does talk about dream analysis, and here it gets into in depth about dream psychology, why we want to interpret our dreams, alchemical symbols in our dreams. Wonderful book, and one that I've kept on my shelf for many years. I highly recommend that. Another one, also going from a psychological approach, is this one, Working with Dreams, by Montague Ullman, MD, and Nan Zimmerman. Excellent book, one that I read a while ago, but I'm starting to get more into reading about dreams again. This is a book, one of my first books that I ever got when I was working at W.H. Smith bookstore back when I was in my early 20s. And this book has a section all about dreams and the unconscious, sleep, dreams, and the rhythms of life.
Mm.
Okay, and this is going to talk about and relate it to psychic, power.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a great book by Carl Reiter. And this is hilarious, but remember these time load books?
Yeah, I used to have the full set.
Yeah, I got almost the full set at the thrift store, and I've been loving them. But yeah, this goes into just the dream psychology again, and it also goes into like different dream archetypes, like the mother or the child. Here's the child. Because we'll often dream of children, or we'll dream of animals and different things. This is the animus, and then there's the anima, the hero. Different, what does that mean if you're dreaming that you're the hero of your dream, or your mother comes in or whatever. And it also talks about the science of dreams. So this is a fantastic little book if you ever find these, and these show up in thrift stores sometimes. But yeah, and I have a couple on order. The ones I'm getting into right now are Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LeBurge and Howard Reinhold, and Lucid Dreaming, Gateway to the Inner Self by Robert Waggoner. And Robert Waggoner, I watched a couple of videos on him, and he's an expert in lucid dreaming
Okay.
for last 30 years.
Nice.
So yeah, I just wanted to get some more tips on how to get into it, how to sustain it.
Yeah.
And as magicians too, like we're always trying to be able to hold mental images, develop our subconscious. And so, yeah, I like
It's a big part of doing magic.
It's a
is
big
being
part of
able
it.
to hold that image of what you want to have done.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on astral traveling, so we should talk a little bit.
That's
about
right.
that.
Yeah. So we want to say how a lucid dream is different from astral travel.
Yes.
So in astral projection or astral travel, you're actually having an etheric projection of your consciousness outside your body.
Mhm.
It's not your soul that's coming out. Wouldn't work, because then you'd be dead. Right? But it's an etheric projection. And the difference is that you're not in the dream world, you're in the actual world. Like when you come out of your body and look around your room, everything is as it should be. It's
Mhm.
not a dream room.
No, it's almost reality.
It's
looking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Both of us have had a few experiences. With
yeah. I found it frightening personally.
I find it much more difficult to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should talk about the differences between astral travel or projection
Mhm.
and lucid dreaming and what the difference is.
Right. So in my experience of astral projection, I was trying definitely to have an astral projection. Um, it happened all so fast that it actually kind of frightened me. But what the difference was, I didn't go into the dream world. I was in the world, this world,
Right.
in conscious reality world. I could see my clock on the bedside table with the time, and I took a note of the time. I could see everything in the room, and then I started rising, 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 went right through the ceiling. Like,
Wow.
yeah, but it just happened too fast. I didn't know how to control it when it happened. And then another time I had an astral projection, actually when I was performing music, which was really bizarre, and I didn't mean for it to happen, but it was like I was up on the ceiling looking down at myself performing.
Wow.
I was under a lot of stress. It was high university and
Like an out of body experience.
yeah, I had an out of the body experience. So one time when I was performing a very difficult classical guitar piece, I had an out of the body experience where I saw myself from the top of the auditorium looking down. And that's another thing about out of the body experience. It can happen, you know, just randomly if you're under a great deal of stress. And Stevie Ray Vaughan, remember Stevie Ray Vaughan, the guitar player? He said he had a couple of out of body experiences when he was just jamming and getting right into it.
Get right
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
it can happen
Yeah.
sort of involuntarily like that
Oh, I found I
as
used
well.
to meditate sometimes while sewing.
Okay.
But like if I were doing it for
Get
a
into a
really long
meditative state.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you just kind of get into a meditative state.
Right.
And then I know people think that's odd. You have to pay attention when you're sewing, but not when you've been sewing for like 50 years.
Right.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Well, 40 years.
Right.
Um, it's just kind of
It just
automatic.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I too had an astral projection experience, but like you said, I was trying to.
Right.
And like you said, I experienced like the room as it is.
Yeah.
And it feels very real and you
Mhm.
can see all the details of the room, but I could also see things that were on the astral plane that
Oh, that's neat.
definitely were not real in like the conscious world.
Right.
So, I could see I had done pentagrams for protection
Oh,
around the
right.
house, and I could
You could see
see
them.
those pentagrams glowing a bright blue where I placed them.
Awesome.
So obviously they worked really well.
Yeah, obviously they did. Obviously they did.
I could see that, and
Yeah.
and when I snapped back into my body, it was like really fast, and I just went back.
Yes, that's exactly what happened to me where I jolted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing is sleep paralysis, which is another a whole different topic we could get into and do a whole video on, I'm sure. But that would be another different state than astral projection or lucid dreaming. And that is when the body is in a state of paralysis, but the mind is somewhere in between. We're you're kind of in a dream, but you're kind of awake. It's like I said, we could do a whole nother video on that one.
That I haven't experienced as
Yeah.
much, so I think maybe once.
Yeah, you think about the Kabbalah and how we're in the world of Malkuth, right? And that is the world, the earth. Like this is the earthly realm. We're in Malkuth. Everyday reality is Malkuth. And then the next phase up is Yesod, which is the Malkuth is the 10th Sephira, and then the next one is the 9th Sephira, which is Yesod, and that is the world of astral travel and dreams. And so that is like the first step that the magician starts to develop a relationship between those two worlds, right? Again, the sun and the moon. It keeps coming back to those two tarot cards, the sun and the moon, the sun and the moon,
Yeah.
the face and the back of the head, right?
And even like some people might say remote viewing
Yeah,
is similar.
it's similar.
But in my experience, remote viewing is something you do while you're conscious.
You're conscious,
You're
yeah.
not in a dream state, and you're only sort of getting bits and pieces rather than like
Flashes.
flashes of things. And when you're in lucid dreaming, you're seeing that dream and you're controlling that.
Yeah.
It's a totally different
Yeah.
type of thing. But I think it all kind of relates and
They're all
to
related.
each other.
Yeah, they're all related to the subconscious and psychic power, really.
Mhm.
You know, and what we're all trying to develop and work with as magicians. So
Funny story, like the reason I started trying to do remote viewing was that my mom had this little book about like powers of the mind or psychic mind or
oh yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that book and thinking, oh, that's really interesting. I'll
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah.
And I tried to remote view. My uncle lived in California, and I tried to remote view what California, his apartment would look like
Right.
when we go to visit him.
It was just as he
And
thought.
it seemed exactly the way I saw it.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, I think you're more talented as a child too,
For sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
But remote viewing is one that you can actually test.
You
That's
can.
the nice thing about that psychic power is that you can test it. So if you know you're going someplace where you've never been before,
Yeah.
try to remote view like where the hotel is, where you're going to stay, what are you going to see while you're there, what kind of places are around it.
Good idea.
Without
Yeah.
looking it up.
Don't look it up. Don't look online. No pictures. No. You have to really use it as a exercise.
And maybe write it down ahead of time, and then when you get there, go, okay,
Yeah. See where you got see where you went, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
my hotel gray or brown or what's my room color?
That's a great idea. I love
what
that.
room number you might get while you're there?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things you could do.
Right. And that in that Carl Jung book, there's a big section on numbers and your dreams and the meaning of the numbers. And I often have that, right? I see different numbers or yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
We could definitely, this is part 1 because I think I could talk about lucid dreaming again for sure.
We'll get more into mall world at some point.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with them. I've had those mall dreams too, so that's a real thing, but maybe not as in depth as yours. But I definitely dreamt of malls.
Maybe I'm more connected to
and my high school and the test I didn't study for. That's an anxiety dream, eh?
Yeah.
It's not a lucid dream because I would definitely ace the test. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And have you had a lucid dream? And do you have any techniques for getting into lucidity in your dreams? If so, leave a comment below. We love to hear from you. And we're starting to get more comments on our videos, which is lovely. We really love hearing from you. We would like to know where people are from and just, what your experiences are with the topics that we discuss.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up there and we'll say thanks for joining us and merry part and blessed be.
Blessed be.